Well, maybe we should take a quick little detour and let's jump into Amy Hennig. Who is
Okay.
Amy Hennig? All right, so
Yes.
Amy Hennig, she is a video game industry legend,
Hmm.
writer. She was involved of Jack and Daxter, Legacy of Kain, and the first three Uncharted games. So she was like one of the main writers or the main writer on all of those projects. So she has quite a pedigree. So we actually, I think, when we first brought this podcast back, I think I reported that she's with a new formed a new video game studio that's going to be making AAA games. I believe it's called Skydance Media or Skydance Games or something like that. And they just got a contract to make a new Marvel game, which is heavily rumored to be a Fantastic Four game. Well,
Mm.
we just got another announcement that Disney has hired her again. More on that in a second. To make a new Star Wars game. Now, fun little bit of trivia, little history with this. So, previously, a few years ago, Amy Hennig, before she formed this new Skydance studio, got hired over at Electronic Arts studio Visceral Games, and they were hired to make a Star Wars game. That was when Electronic Arts had got the basically got the exclusive
Yeah,
Star Wars
I
license for
remember
like
that.
7 years. They made Battlefront. I think they only made like two Battlefront games, and then Jedi Fallen Order. But what's interesting is Amy Hennig was working on a single player, very story driven, narrative focused action game. And it was codenamed Ragtag. If you actually Google, you could probably find some little concept art and
Hmm.
screenshots from it. But basically, it seemed like you were going to be kind of like a Han Solo esque type, like some kind of scoundrel. And it was definitely shots on the desert planet, as Star Wars games are wont to be. And we're probably going around like doing smuggling missions and cool stuff like that. Maybe a little more seedy underbelly than we usually get in the movies and TV shows. But EA said, "What do you mean you're making a single player game? Single player games don't sell anymore. This needs to be some crazy multiplayer game like Destiny that we can just do a live service game and keep milking people for money and money and money." So they canceled the project. And then, like, I don't know, like a year or two later, they let Respawn, their other studio, make Jedi Fallen Order, which released as a single player game and was a huge hit. And I played the game, and it's fucking awesome. It's really, really good.
I've
And it's
got it.
also
I've got it. I played like the first level and then I stopped and I never went back. I gotta play it.
very good. It's tough, but it's a really good game, and it is actually canon. So that is actually canon with all the new Star Wars stuff that's at the Disney. So anyway, so that's kind of the fun little story behind it. So she lost that project, and now Disney hired her again. So I guess she has a good pitch. So it's still probably going to be an action adventure, maybe third person style, like maybe more linear, maybe a little
Yeah.
open kind of game. But we don't know if it's going to be like able to take remnants of what they did with the ragtag, or if like EA owns all that and they can't touch that now, or there's a bad taste in her mouth. But she is doing that. So I am very excited for this Marvel game and Star Wars game. At the very least, it's going to have a tremendous story. And I don't. The studio hasn't released a game yet. I think it's a lot of industry veterans, and it's supposed to be AAA. So we should be looking
Hmm.
for something special. But haven't seen a game from the studio yet. So I'm like cautiously optimistic, and she just had a
Yeah.
bad track record. Like the last three projects she's been on got canceled, not because of her fault. I think just because the industry has been really crazy and people are
Yeah.
afraid of investing money.
Hmm.
But anyway, that's my fun little video game update. I
But
don't know if I
you
have
know
any
what
other
I
ones for
want
this week.
though? No, but hang on. You know what I want?
Yeah,
Did you ever play Shadows of the Empire on the N64? Is that
yes, it
before
was
your
one of my
time?
favorite games ever. Yes,
I love the Shadows of the Empire. I mean, there was only one Shadow of the Empire,
yeah. I
with
read the book,
Dash Rendar.
actual
Yeah, yeah,
novelization, and then they made the game based off it. Was Dash Rendar? Yes, like the
yeah.
Outlander, I think was the ship,
Yes,
or the
yes.
Outrider or something. Outlander.
Listen, it's funny because I remember like years later, because I was playing that when it first came out in like
Yeah,
whatever that was, 96, whatever.
yeah, I think
And
it was.
years later, though, once the internet came around and there were like top 10 worst game ever lists, I saw that game appear on there for like different buggy issues or whatever. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
Shadows of the Empire was an amazing game. And what I was going to say was like, you know, I think it'd be pretty damn cool and worth doing with today's technology to do a new adaptation of that story. Maybe you don't remake that
yeah.
game,
Well, that's a
but
legend now. That's in the old book, so I don't think
oh,
that's part
that's
of the canon
right.
anymore. So we need, but hey,
All
listen,
of
we
that
can make a
got
game and reintroduce
invalidated.
them. they've been bringing a lot of characters back
They
from that
have been,
legend.
right? Well, bring
So
back
yeah,
Dash Rendar and give
give
me a
me Dash.
version of Shadows of the Empire
Maybe
and
that's what
make
Amy
me an
Hennig
epic
working on.
game. Imagine it is. Oh
If she
man, if
brings
that
back
ends
Dash
up being the
Rendar,
thing. Yeah.
dude. Oh. That was cool because remember that took place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the
Yes.
Jedi, and it's a little side story. And I
Yep.
think it was like Zizu or Zizu or something like that. Like the main antagonist was like a green alien guy, and
Yeah.
he actually kidnapped Princess Leia. So it was like a little adventure in between those, and
Yeah.
it ended up in the final battle. And I think in the books too. I'm pretty sure they stayed fairly faithful to it. It ended up in a three-way space fight between this guy's, I think it was, is it Zizor? It's something with the X, like Zyza,
I'm
whatever.
blanking out on the name.
Yeah, so it was like him versus the Empire versus the Rebels. So there was like a three-way space fight where everyone has two enemies across. It was pretty awesome. Really, really cool.
So, Amy Hennig, if you haven't picked your concept yet, Shadows of the Empire,
Do it.
re-brought into the canon, do it. Do it now.